Well, good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us for the March Inside Story. Thank you for being patient through our technical difficulties. We will get to see some wonderful video put together by Lucy Gwitt from Pictures of the Trip, and we will get to hear the video narrated and enriched by all of the good people standing before you this morning. So I'm just going to begin by introducing Larry Tice, who is the principal at Pacelli Catholic High School. And there are three things that I know about Larry in his pilgrimage through life and faith. The first is that he just has a heart for young people. And he is young at heart himself, and those two things work together very well. The second is that he has a heart for mission, and he ensures that this mission excursion to the diocesan mission of Casa Hogar in Peru occurs every other year, and it has for a very long time. Larry will tell you more about that. Finally, he has a heart for music. And he finds a way to put all of those things together just to raise people up and build community wherever he goes. So it's my pleasure to introduce you this morning to Larry Tice, and he will introduce you to everyone else.
Thank you. So thank you all. First, thank you, Holy Spirit Parish. You have been a huge supporter. You've been a huge supporter of our mission trips at Pacelli Catholic High School for the past several years. I started traveling down to Casa Hogar back in 2015. And basically, for those of you who don't know what Casa Hogar is the diocesan orphanage that was founded by Padre Joseph Walieski. And Padre Walieski started over at St. Peter Parish for a period of time. His story goes that when he was studying to become a priest in seminary, he kept failing. And he actually started in Michigan, and he felt this calling, this deep, deep calling to serve the Lord through the priesthood. And he kept pushing. And even though they asked him to leave the seminary in Michigan, he started petitioning all of the bishops throughout America, basically, seeking a place to come to school, seeking a place to follow where the Lord was calling him, to follow the path to becoming a priest. And finally, I would say, oh my goodness, I'm just throwing out numbers here, but in the 70s, he finally got the call from the bishop. Oh my goodness, who was the bishop back in the 50s? Who was it? Bishop Tracy finally gave the nod and brought him into the La Crosse Diocese, where he went into the seminary down in Milwaukee, I think it was St. Francis de Sales, and began his journey to becoming a priest. And through that journey, he prayed to the Lord. He said, Lord, if you allow me to become a priest, become a servant to you, I will give you so many years within the missions of the Diocese of La Crosse. From there, when he was ordained, like I said, he started over here at St. Peter, and then very quickly gave his life down to Bolivia in Santa Cruz. Down there, he founded a church. I believe it's Sacred Heart, I believe is the name of the parish, and in Bolivia. And up until only a few years ago, I would say maybe 4 years ago, it was a diocesan parish that we ran. And it started out in classic Padre Walieski style. Started out with like a few thousand people, and then became close to 2 million. If you look up Santa Cruz and you look up Sacred Heart Parish down there, it is massive, the size and the number of families. Once he finished there, he was called to oh my goodness, Villa El Salvador. Villa El Salvador is in Peru. And what happened was, and again, you guys will have to help me with this, but back in the late 70s, there was a massive earthquake in the Andes. And that earthquake devastated communities. It killed, I believe, 60 to 70,000 people. and people lost everything, and they flocked towards the coast of Peru, which is where Lima is located. Via El Salvador started out, and actually the bishop there asked for a missionary priest, to come and help grow and take care of these refugees and help to grow the community. When Padre Walieski went there were about 60 to 70,000 people again, and he found himself building a community in the desert. Literally, we're going to show you pictures. Our mission trip had a chance to literally live what Padre Walieski lived back in the late 70s, early 80s. This flat desert plain, these families who had literally nothing. And one of my most striking images was of a woman who was pregnant, digging a hole in the sand with her arm in order to put a post in that would become one of the corners of the house. Like, it would become, from there, they would put 2 panels up to make walls, and they're literally digging in the sand. So imagine digging a 3-foot hole in the sand with your arm. It doesn't work well. But these people, this is all they had. And Padre Walieski started out helping those families, working with those families, saving those families. Today, Via El Salvador is probably about over 2 million people in Via El Salvador. Our mission trip team had a chance to go visit Father's parish there. We had a chance to see the soup kitchen that they still run to feed the people from Via El Salvador. From there, back in about, I believe, 1982-ish, St. Pope John Paul II came to Via El Salvador and gave this huge presentation, this huge speech in which Padre Walieski introduced him, and they immediately struck it off. 2 Polish priests, 100% together at heart, and Padre Walieski turned to Pope John Paul II and said, "I need help with the children. I need to save these children." And from there, Pope John Paul II gave him $50,000 to start an orphanage that we know today as Casa Hogar Juan Pablo II. And that's our orphanage. Like, literally, it's our orphanage. And we are blessed as a diocese. I believe we're blessed as a school that we anchor ourselves in our mission to go and serve those children, to serve in the footsteps of Padre Walieski, to serve in the footsteps of Pope John Paul II, as we take care of these children and we grow what I would call the civilization of love, to do this outreach. Today, there are 64 children who live at Casa Hogar, and it's hard to call them orphans. It took me a couple years to understand what the context of orphan means in Peru. In America, we think of orphans as people who don't have moms or dads. They have nothing, and then they're rescued and brought into an orphanage where they are raised by other people. In the case of Casa Hogar, in the case of the way Lorin and Lima work, an orphanage, a Casa Hogar, is a place where maybe it's a single mom who's living hand to mouth in terms of her ability to get food and take care of her children. What we are doing is we are identifying those children, we're identifying those families, and we're taking them in, and we are giving them a chance to learn, to grow in our Catholic faith, to grow in the love of family. They still have a mom on the streets, they still have a family out there, but this is our way of trying to save them. Padre Monsignor Hirsch, who is the current missionary priest down in Casa Hogar, and many of you might know Father Hirsch, amazing man, and I'm sure you guys would say he's a pretty amazing person. What they will do is they will take those children and they will grow them as a family of love. He'll talk about what he calls the firing squad of society. And it's a really graphic term, and I apologize for using it, but when you think of the horrors of society down there, he told us stories of a young, 18-year-old man who I believe one of his brothers come to Casa. There's so much gang violence, so much drug violence in this part of the world. It's one of the only ways a young man from the streets can make a living is by joining a gang, by joining the drug trade, by dealing with that. For a young woman, a street woman, one of the only ways she can save herself is using her body. And it hurts people, it destroys people. And in the example of this older brother, he was involved with the gangs, he was working on his motorcycle, he already, at the age of 18, already had a child, had a girlfriend, live-in girlfriend, and he was working on his motorcycle, and the gang drove by, and they killed him right there on the street. Monsignor Hirsch's goal, and our goal at Casa Hogar, is to take these children and give them a chance. Give them a chance to stand up to the horrors of society that they would face as street children. To give them a chance to know God's love, to know that God has created them to do something bigger in their lives, to do something where they can go to school, get a job, learn a skill, maybe become a lawyer, maybe become a businessman, maybe become a businesswoman, but to save them from the firing squad that they'll find on the streets. Today, there's a girl, her name is Rosa. Rosa graduated from Casa Hogar, I would say 4 to 5 years ago. Rosa is currently at Viterbo University here in La Crosse, studying wellness and like dietitian, like she's studying to become a dietitian. And I knew Rosa way back when she was probably 14, 15 at Casa. Her story is, she's from Cusco. Cusco is, in our world, we know it as Machu Picchu. That's like the base camp for Machu Picchu. Her mother lived hand to mouth. Whatever she could find, she ate, whatever she could do. And ultimately, Rosa got brought to Casa and spent her life there. From once she graduated, she's now at Viterbo doing this. Imagine her life without Casa Hogar. Imagine where she would be if our diocese and our people didn't stand up and help take care and raise these kids. So it's just a beautiful, beautiful mission that I get this much of an opportunity to touch every 2 years. And I'm blessed because I get to take kids like this and adults like this and let them get touched. Because in our lives, in our first world lives, it's less about what we do for them. And I've told you the story about what we're doing for them, which is pretty incredible, but it's less about what we do for them and more about what they do for us and how they change us. My thought is, if you go down there and you're not changed to the core, there's something wrong. If you don't come back understanding love, understanding life, understanding Christ's hand in our lives, there's something wrong. I don't know how to change it, but it's an amazing thing. And again, I just want to, shout out to Holy Spirit Parish, who has been a committed supporter of Pacelli's work down at Casa Hogar. So as I'm rambling here, I'm going to turn the microphone over and let the kids kind of, if you can, take a moment and talk about your experience at Casa and maybe talk about how it has touched your lives. And then after that, I'll hit play on the video and you can get a real quick snapshot of our experience going down to Casa for a couple days.
One of the things that my name is Ava Olds, and I'm a senior at Pacelli. Okay, anyways, never mind. One of the things that was different for me was their mass. So every morning they woke up at, what time is it, 7-ish? And, well, we woke up at 7. They woke up earlier so they could do chores and stuff before they even went to Mass. So they get to the Mass, and they're all talking and conversing before. And then Father rings the bell, and everybody sits down, and everybody gets ready for the Mass. And Father had a way of really, like, engaging everybody, even us who didn't speak their language, obviously. He still found ways that we could understand what he was talking about, which was really cool. And then after Mass, he had these little marbles, and the kids can use the marbles to buy candy and other trinkets, I don't know. And so he would throw them up in the air, and he would give them, and they would swarm like little fish. And it was like, they were all like grabbing, and they would like try and be really cute, so you would give them a marble, and it was just really cute, and it was cool to see them all excited for Mass. So.
I'm Paige Grzinski. I'm also a senior at Pacelli. I think one of the biggest effects it had on me was how eye-opening it was to the luxuries we have here. I think they get so excited just with the marbles. They are more excited that in just that 5 minutes where they get the marbles than we experience it a whole day. They are just so excited over the littlest things, and just like us coming and painting their nails, they're just so excited for just the little basic things that we don't even think about that we have here. We could just paint our nails any day, but they just they have to wait till they're 13 years old to paint their nails, and it's just so crazy to see how we just, I don't know, just it's just so crazy that they don't even get to experience the everyday luxuries we have, and they don't even know any better. It's just really life-changing. I don't know.
I'm Elise Badoon, junior at Pacelli. One thing I loved was that just how energetic they were, from the marbles in the morning to the chores they did, and then playing soccer and basketball with them through the night, and just how they always had energy and always had fun. And then 2 days of the week, we got to have dinner with them and their families, and then playing Uno and talking about their lives was just amazing to hear and do. And then Uno is just incredible. I mean, I remember one time, me and Richard, he was a good guy down there. We would create our own kind of group and kind of cheat our way a little bit, but it was fun, and just to play with them and do that, and how much energy they had was amazing.
I'm Scott Badoon. I'm Elise's father. It really was a life-changing week to be down there. I think it kind of culminated. I sent my wife, she's sitting in the back, as we were getting ready to leave on Friday, and as my son mentioned, Richard there, and I don't know what his history otherwise is, other than Monsignor Hirsch had said that he had a lot of tragedy and trauma in his earlier years, and had actually had a bit of a struggle now and again, being at Casa Hogar. And I don't know what brought his mother there, but his mother was there that day later in the afternoon, and he went out and he found Melise and myself and wanted to introduce her to us. And then as we were getting ready to leave, and we got a little delayed, so there wasn't just one goodbye, but 3 goodbyes, and each time seemed to be more tearful. And I have the pictures. I sent it to my wife and said, here's the whole week in a summary. And you see Richard just clinging on to Melise, and it's trying to think, what did we do? I mean, I could not tell you what we did for this child, but he was so grateful for that opportunity for us to be there. And what little bit that we did to impact his life, to me, I wish I knew what it was specifically, if there was something specific, but it just resounded with me to say it doesn't take much to help people in need of that. It's the little things. It's if you don't think that you have what it takes, you're wrong. You do. It's a little bit of time. It's just a little bit of attention, and it can really change the life of someone there. And I'm sure whether it's there or whether it's here, I'm sure it's otherwise universal, because as Melissa said, we had the dinners with them, and you listen to these kids talk and the questions they ask. I mean, they're asking questions about finding a wife. I was not ready for that question when it otherwise came out, and Father Hirsch is, asking like that, and because he was the one there who's translating for us. I'm like, okay, but these are real things for them, and it's real struggles, and they want to know, and what's it different for us, and just those little things. And it's like I'm as introverted as they come, and I wasn't sure what I could do, but I do it again in a heartbeat, and I look forward to future opportunities to do something similar to that. It's truly changed my life, because even if I can do it, anybody can change a life.
Hi, my name is Sarah Gwitt. I am a parent that was down at Casa Hogar with my daughter Lucy, who is a senior at Pacelli, and kind of not specific to the orphanage, but one big takeaway that I got from the trip, that when I talk to people and try to sort of summarize it, that I like to tell people about, is how important the church is down there in that community. I also get teary-eyed every time I talk to anybody. It's kind of my thing. Anyways, whether it's Padre at the orphanage or some of the other priests that we met, in particular, a city that we went to, Santa Rosa, that had been demolished by a mudslide, and there was a priest living there that was helping to rebuild the community. Those priests and those churches are the lifeblood of the community. And that's the same, we experience that here, but not on that level. That they don't have any other structure that can bring that kind of help to a community. There isn't food stamps, and the government's not, doesn't have all these programs that are outreaching and helping people out. It's just the church. The church is the glue. And that was a kind of an important thing to me to bring home, because it went beyond faith. It was, the church they don't just provide faith and a place to pray. It is food, it is water, it is basics.
I'm Lori Liss. I was grateful to finally be able, thank you, Larry. I wanted to go to Casa for years. And there, like all the things the kids and adults mentioned, there are a couple of things that really struck me. I had an opportunity to go, so people there share. So if Casa gets something and they have too much of it, they'll take it to another orphanage. And there happened to be an orphanage, and I don't remember the name of it, with the girls. Carlitas. And I got a chance to go with some students and with Father to Carlitas to meet these young women that are there because of the court. So they're there for different reasons than some of these kiddos that come to Casa. And Father, of course, just works his magic, and they all gather, and they not really magic, so don't get confused. He's Father, and his presence is amazing, and brings everyone out, and has these people, myself included, know no Spanish, have them talk to these children and learn about them. So we had questions about what was your favorite color, your favorite food, your whatever, and then what was something that you hoped for. And I had this little young lady, and of course, I didn't know. I mean, we did our best, and we figured things out, and her favorite color was black, and mine was green. And the question was, what do you hope for? And she said, I don't have any hope. And I about lost it. I'm like, outside of Casa, these kids, what is their hope? It's the firing squad. It's the being pregnant at 14. It's not having stability, but not having love. And I think when these kids come out and you're playing basketball or soccer, or you're painting nails, or you're just walking with them and they grab your hand, or they're trying to get marbles out of your hand, which is really fun. My first marble attempt, Father goes, throw it high, so I did, and I hit Courtney Carpenter square in the forehead. She said she was fine. She didn't have a mirror. But this little girl didn't. I don't have any. She has nothing to hope for. Like not a quinceanera, not a. Like she had no hope. That really. That was tough. I mean, it was amazing. And then of course, there was a little boy, and I've told my granddaughter. He's the mermaid back there, about this little boy named Aslan, and he wanted to talk to me in the worst way, and I kept saying, I cannot speak Spanish. So he motioned me down, and I got down on my knees, and he squished my cheeks, and he was trying to, word by word, say, you don't speak Spanish. Well, I kept saying, after the second time, and the harder he squished, the more I giggled. I'm like, I can't. And he just wrapped his arms around my neck, and he was my little hugger for the rest of the trip. But he came over and gave me, the missionary kids you get a little medals from them that Father blesses. And he came over and he put gave me my medal, and then he squished my face, and it was just so stinking cute. But just Casa is hope. Like Casa is hope to these families. It's amazing, and however people support them. Father Miguel that we met, where the Waco came through, can I mention that we're going to be doing a fundraiser? We want to do a fundraiser for Father Miguel. He's in this house that he took his priestly retirement money to build because he wants to serve the rest of his time as a mission. And you look at him talking, and there's stereo speakers, and you're like, oh, it's different. These are for the church. Over here, there's a Blessed Mother in their image, a Peruvian mother. She's wrapped, she's standing. This is for the church when we build it. There's a Dominican statue. This is for the church when we build it. And I'm like, what do you need for a church? $1,500. And it's just like a place for them to have a roof to gather is what they need. Anyway, there were so many amazing, amazing, amazing memories. Being able to watch the kids. I said that I can't wait to see what happens to your hearts. Are you going to talk? No? Okay. I thought we were going to have to leave a few behind. Melise was one. Courtney was one. Manu was one. Lots of tears at saying goodbye. But do you want?
Hi, my name's Manuela. I'm a junior at Pacelli, and I have a hard time talking about Peru. It was something, just going there, and it's about giving. Giving donations because they do need. They don't have much, but it's also about giving yourself. I would say 100%. They don't need everything that we need. They just need love, and I think they have way more than us. And like Larry said, I think I went there and I'm like, okay, I'm going there. I'm gonna help them. I'm gonna give them some hope and something to wish for, and give them donations. And when I came back after this only 1 week, I realized that we went there and they helped us. It was a changing experience, and just seeing their routine. When we went, they were on vacation, but now that school started, they wake up, 5:30, they have mass every day, 6:15, they go to school. And as they said, most of them, they're not orphans, they came from somewhere, maybe a single mom or not very normal family, and that routine's tough. Waking up every day, sweeping the floor, washing the dishes, or making your bed every day, we don't do that every day. It's not something we're used to. And for many of them, it's just easy to live on the streets. You do whatever you want. It's your choice. And something that really marked me was when Father Hirsch was explaining to us, some people run away. They run away from Casa. They have food, they have a good place to sleep, but you have mass every day. You wake up early every day. And he said, when he realizes that the kid, it's maybe wanting to go away or leave, he goes to the kid. He goes to the kid and say, look, if you want to run away, tell me. I'm going to call your family, and I'll bring you there. I'm going to drive you there. Because it's a really big temptation. And as much as you want to help them, you want to build this concept of family and what a good life looks like, you cannot make them. So it really impressed me, their resilience with the routine and everything, and how they have way more than we do. Even though they don't have a bedroom of their own, they don't have stuff of their own, everything's pretty much donated, they understand and know in their hearts the concept of love, which is more valuable than anything we have. And just like Ms. Liz said, when we went to this other orphanage, and we said, oh, what would you wish for, right? We had a few minutes to think, and I was ready. I was ready to say, I wish when I grow up, I have this big farm with horses and a big truck, right? Because that's what people want. You want a nice house, you want a nice car, you want a nice family, and okay, let's start saying what we wish. And the other girl, she said, I wish for no more violence. I don't want more violence. And I looked at my wish and I'm like, holy cow, what? And I want a farm, like that doesn't make sense. So seeing the way they see life, it's pretty interesting. And yeah.
All right, so we have Lucy Gwitt, who also came on the trip with us. She's sick today, but she put a video together for us. What I'm going to do is I'll hit play, and I think I'm going to be pausing it occasionally. How much time do we have left? 7 minutes. Okay, so I'm going to hit play, let it run for the most part, and then. But the opening image, if you look, you'll see lots of different pictures of our experience at Casa Hogar. The bottom right-hand corner, as you're looking at it, is we went what I call a street mass. We went out to one of the chapels in the streets. It was my first time driving in Peru, which is super fun. Don't tell the diocese. Anyway, but we went to the street mass. It was amazing. If you look upper right corner, in the back behind Casa Hogar are a lot of hills that kids can walk on. Monsignor Hirsch takes them on a little hiking excursion. It's more than just hiking, it's spiritual. Like, it's really, really amazing. In the dead middle, right above the Hogar part, you'll see all the kids do their own mass music. It's amazing to have the privilege to play with them. I taught myself how to play guitar because of these kids. My first trip down there, when we went, I carried down Matthews. Do you guys know Matthews Bows? Well, Kevin Matthews also makes high-end guitars, like super high-end. Like, the guitars that the boys are playing there are called Guitarra Negra, which are black guitars. They're carbon fiber guitars. They're $3,000 a piece. My first trip down, my group carried 20 of them down. Or not 20, there were 20 of us. We carried 10 of them down. And in my mind, I'm like, why are we wasting these? This is thousands of dollars. Can't we do more with this? Can't we buy food? Can't we buy water? What are we doing? And I was upset. And then I got down there, and I saw what these guitars did. I saw what these guitars did for their spiritual lives, for their community, and it changed me. And it told me what music means to people. And I don't know which saint it was. Somebody can correct me, but to sing and to play music is praying like 100 times or something. I forget which saint said that, but watching these kids play inspired me. And I don't know if it inspired you guys, but it was pretty amazing. Do you want to just wiggle it and wake it up? I'm sorry. Sorry, Sarah. All right, so I'll hit play on it so we can get through this. So we're getting ready to go on the flight. This is in Miami. So, Pacelli kids, how many of you was this your first international flight? So, a couple of you. Here we are flying over Lima, getting ready to land. It's just amazing to see the lights and how big this city is. It's huge. This is probably one of the most American experiences, is trying to get out of the airport. Pretty impressive. That's a look at the chapel as we're coming up to the chapel. That's kind of where our dormitories are. And again, you could see the guitars, how important those guitars are for their culture and their family. Here we're walking towards the Mercado. This is the Mercado. It's basically, I don't even know, Peruvian Walmart. Lots of games. We spent a lot of nights doing that. This is the Street Mass Chapel. We walked up to the top of one of the hills and near the street. This is where, this is Via El Salvador and Padre Walieski's first church that he founded. There's 2-point-some million people in that vista that you saw. Here we are doing some service work. We basically were pulling weeds and like hoeing like weeds. That's the tortoise. That's Padre Walieski's tomb, probably one of the coolest places you can go and hang out at. This is Padre on a hike up into the hills. Again, doing our service work. We're shopping from the parents here. This is the Dominican Basilica, built probably in the late 1500s. St. Martin de Porres and St. Rose of Lima are both buried here. They did get to eat cuy. A couple kids tried cuy. You'll have to Google it to find out what cuy is. Okay, I'm going to pause it here. This is Santa Rosa. Santa Rosa is where Father Miguel is. It's one of our most current fundraisers. We're going to be doing a food fundraiser coming up here. Ultimately, Padre Miguel reached out to myself and Ann Zacher earlier this week, and he said, we need water. We need water. What? They literally have to have water trucked in to this shanty town. There's 30,000 people living here. If you can pay for it, you get water. If you don't pay for it, you don't have water. They need water. So I know Lori mentioned about the idea of building a church for them. Right now, they need water. So we're going to be, when we do our fundraiser, our goal is to raise between $1,500 to $2,000 to buy water for the people who live in Santa Rosa. So that's kind of our goal. And I'm going to hit play again. And just to give you a really strong juxtaposition here, okay? These people live on about $7 a day. $7 a day. The people, and it was like a ghost town when we were there because everybody's gone working. Everyone who can work leaves to go find a job. So they're all gone working. In the background, you see stuff that looks like water runoff. You're like, wow, there's a lot of water there. No, it's the rich people's mountain bike playground. It's where people like Red Bull and stuff like that come and they do mountain bike competitions in the background. I mean, what a crazy, it just blows my mind. So as you look at Santa Rosa, you'll get an idea. This is also almost exactly like Padre Walieski experienced back in the early 80s, late 70s. So what blows my mind is that these kids and myself had a chance to basically stand and see what Father Walieski was doing in his life. All right, that is the video. So I think I'm out of time. Is that correct? All right. You guys want to come on up? So the question was, with trying to raise money for water, is there plan for a well? I have no clue on that. I don't know the answer.
I asked Father Hirsch about that because we were talking about why can't they build a well? Why can't they get solar panels out there, like for electricity? Because it isn't there. And he said that when the people come in, people come and land grab. So then when folks are able to come into this region, then they are able to purchase like a little, I don't know, 6 by 8, 8 by 10 square, and that becomes their land. But it's up to the landowners, and right now the landowners said, no, if you want water, it gets trucked in. So, and because I said, so like solar, wouldn't that help? Because like electricity, and he said that, well, for one, the solar panels even here are very expensive, but he said that the landowners won't let them. And I'm like, okay, but the people are so proud. He said they're so proud to be able to buy this little square that they put a little lean-to in, because then they have a home to give their family someday. And just, so it's the land grabbers.
Yes. I honestly don't know the answer to that, but while we were driving in, you'll see tanker trucks coming in with us. And then they have these big black, like barrels, water barrels, that they'll just pull up and they'll fill it up with water, and that's their water for, I don't even know how many gallons do you think? How many gallons do you think those black water containers were? 200 gallons? 200 to 300? Yeah. Roof. I think, like, number one is keep praying for us. Keep praying both for Pacelli and for our students, and then also keep praying for Casa Hogar. I think that's super huge. I think number two, as we grow forward and continue to do our work, we will have fundraisers happening. This spring, Lori has taken a great lead on the spring one that we're looking at doing in April, I believe. We're going to have a meeting.
We're meeting Tuesday in your
Tuesday,
office.
yes.
Foods class, I don't know what but we have cooking class back, and Mrs. Lepak and her students have been working on trying to help get plans made so that we can create a meal that the kids will all be helping with, that we can use for benefit. So, and I think too, like continuing to support through the diocesan, there's the guild and looking at Father Woliaszki's canonization, his roll to sainthood, but there's so many places. If you go on the Casa Hogar website, there's lots of ways that I'll say things like, what can we do to help? Whether it's supporting them financially, whether it's coordinating with Noelle, because there was another shipment going back to Casa on March 28th that got February 28th that got shipped back from La Crosse to whatever Father asked for. I mean, we took Bibles that he wanted, and we took a lot of different things when there's a need, or we took gifts when people sponsor a child. When people sponsor a child, like we had Christmas presents for a little person that we were taking back with us, that they hadn't gotten their Christmas gift from their sponsor family yet. So they've got a lot of wonderful things, And again, they give those kids, like the kiddos have to wear uniforms to go to the public schools. So when those kids come into Casa, there's a little store, like downstairs, and they give them socks, shoes, underwear, whatever, and then they get their 2 sets of school uniforms so that they can attend school, which they couldn't afford the uniform otherwise. So, and there's so many ways to help, but prayer is huge. Prayer is huge. These little ones need lots of prayers, as do their maestros, their host parents that have making the sacrifice to raise these kids. So I had 3 boys. I can't imagine 8 all at one time. No, they were delightful. The kids were so sweet. They were so sweet. They really just get in your heart. And
Testing, testing, 1, 2.